Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in. We are here today for kind of a unique episode. No guests, no sponsors. It's just me, your host of the Culture Crush podcast, Kendra Maples. I want to take a few moments today to just tell you a little bit about the Culture Crush podcast, what it is, why it's here, and the future direction that the podcast is heading in. On this podcast, we focus on everything surrounding businesses with a good company culture. We talk with company leaders to learn about real life experiences, tips, and best practices for creating a healthy work environment. We also share businesses and resources that are helping to support growing a good company culture. There's a lot of resources out there and companies that solely focus on helping you grow your company culture. So we want to highlight those too. But this podcast is growing into more than that. It is growing into a brand, a resource, and a support system for businesses. Although we are growing more than just a podcast, I do have to give some credit to where the podcast actually began. I am extremely thankful for Deborah Karen. She is the one who actually launched and hosted this originally on this network, the Phoenix Business RadioX studio. Ironically, she actually took a job with a company that she had brought on the show. So she was focusing on companies with a great company culture, brought a company on, and ended up landing a position with them. So we wish her all the best. The show, since then, though, it had been dormant. So no one else had really taken it on. And then Karen Nowicki, who's the owner of the studio, she brought it up to me. And she brought it up as an opportunity for me to take on because she has known me for a little while and she knows that I have a passion for companies that have a good culture. And so she approached me about this, which was extremely exciting. I thought it was pretty cool, but at the same time, I was a little hesitant. I don't have a fancy degree focused on company culture and leadership. I mean, I have a degree, but I'm not Marcus Buckingham or Simon Sinek. I mean, those guys are icons, right? When it comes to company culture and leadership. The thing is, they cover a broader picture, right? Leadership, inspiration, finding your why, growing yourself, growing your teams, motivation in all of those areas. The more that I thought about this podcast, I thought this is perfect because I wanted to focus just on company culture being the root of all of these things. Then the next question is, what makes me the right person for this? Well, I'm the one that accepted the challenge. So why not? I decided not to only run with this, but to grow this into a brand that truly highlights companies that have a great company culture. I want to provide resources to the companies that are trying to grow their company culture. As far as experience with company culture, I have that too. I have the experience of working with companies that have a great company culture and unfortunately some that don't. I have experience working with some pretty big companies that maybe at the higher level had a great company culture, but then when you trickled down to the team level, it just wasn't there. So I wanted to take this experience and simply be the one to highlight the other companies that are doing it right, to introduce you to the leaders that are doing the amazing things and provide companies with those resources to improve their company culture. So I might not be the pro, but I'll be the one to introduce you to the pros. Fast forward to now, that is exactly what we're doing. We're doing just that, highlighting what builds great company culture and how it affects the overall success of a company, connecting companies to the right resources to help them grow their culture in their company. Guess what? We are the only ones that are doing this. There are thousands of podcasts out there nowadays. Oh my gosh, you can make a podcast anywhere and you can make a podcast about anything, it seems like, right? There's podcasts about food and relationships and comedy, all that sort of stuff. And then there's plenty out there that are focused around business as well. A huge majority, a handful, right, are recorded right here in this very studio, this Phoenix Business RadioX studio. There's some that focus on business, financial growth, project management. But this is the only podcast focusing on company culture and what makes a great company culture, highlighting how successful leaders create and foster that culture, and showcasing how it affects the overall success of a company. We are showcasing the companies that are crushing it in these areas. So as we grow past 100,000 listeners already, that's just insanity. I just want to thank everyone. Thank you for listening in. Thank you for sharing the podcast with people. Thank you for liking it on social media and for taking the risk with me. This podcast and the team behind it, trust me, there is a team behind it. I am not a website developer. I don't know how to make graphics. So trust me, there is a team behind this that's doing amazing things, but it's only going to get bigger. From the bottom of my heart, thank you for tuning into Culture Crush. This is the podcast that does a deep dive into a variety of companies that are crushing it with a great company culture. Thanks, you guys.